Hi there, this is John Wilkinson again from History Made Easier. In this presentation I take a look at the Nazi police state, and I'll begin by briefly explaining the three institutions that together controlled the German people. The SS was many things, but in this context it oversaw all matters regarding security. The SD focused on intelligence gathering, whilst the Gestapo's role was to search out opponents of the Nazi government, eliminate opposition, and deal with groups that the Nazis directly opposed, so that they were responsible, for example, for the Jewish problem, at least until the SS took the lead. The police, by the way, fell under the command of the SS, and they did the party's bidding. The Gestapo spied on people, tapping telephones and opening mail. They were helped in this by a vast network of informers, some within a formal network, for example the Block Wardens, but many more from amongst ordinary Germans, who were encouraged to do so. Many arrests resulted not from the Gestapo's investigations, but from Germans informing on their workmates, their neighbours, even their own families. Better to inform on someone than be the cause of suspicion yourself. Now the SS had unlimited powers to search houses, arrest people without charge, and send them to concentration camps. They could also confiscate their property. The Nazis facilitated this self-controlling factor by dividing every town and city into small blocks, with that block warden who would visit neighbours, reminding them of what the Nazi Party stood for, defending its policies, and reminding them too of their duties. The block warden would act as the party's eyes and ears, reporting back to the party whenever necessary. They wrote reports on the political reliability of their neighbours, if they had any suspicions. In this way, nobody could be sure who they could trust, and nobody could reveal themselves as being critical of the Nazis, never mind opponents. So that those who were critical or who opposed the regime were left isolated. They found it very difficult to join with others, so reducing their danger to the regime. In dealing with opponents of the regime, Hitler made clear that there was no need for judicial proceedings, investigation and trial. The judgment of the Gestapo or the SS was sufficient for both proof of guilt as well as decisions regarding punishment, that is, imprisonment or execution. Hitler wanted a ruthless organisation, totally dedicated to the Nazi movement and unrestrained by law. And with the SS, SD, Gestapo, that's exactly what he got. Still, in 1935, the Nazis made changes to the penal code, which included an all-encompassing clause. Now listen to this. Wrong may be committed in Germany even in cases when there is no law against what is being done. The lawmaker cannot give a complete set of rules covering all situations which may occur in life. He therefore entrusts the judge with filling in the remaining gaps. Incredible. And Hans Frank, at the time the Reich Commissioner for Justice, had this to say of judges in 1936. The National Socialist ideology, especially as expressed in the party programme and in the speeches of our leader, is the basis for interpreting legal sources. Again, incredible. whilst this is how Himmler described his method of working to the police law panel of the German Law Academy in October 1936. I worked on the assumption that it did not matter in the least if our actions were contrary to some paragraph in the law. In working for the Führer and the German people, I basically did that which my conscience and common sense told me was right. The fact that others were bemoaning violations of the law was completely immaterial. The Nazis were the law. The judiciary was brought under Nazi control when judges were required to join the National Socialist League for the maintenance of law and take an oath of loyalty to Hitler. If they didn't, and joining the League meant that they would be bound to uphold Nazi principles in court, they would be forced to resign. Some judges were removed anyway. A German lawyers' front was also formed, which meant that lawyers, whether for the prosecution or the defence, were also bound to uphold Nazi views. In 1934, a new People's Court was established. It tried all cases of treason. Judges whose loyalty to the Nazi movement was not in doubt were selected for this new court. Even so, Hitler would sometimes alter sentences if he thought they had been too lenient. Concentration camps were quickly set up. A disused gunpowder factory in Dachau was the site of the first camp, but soon purpose-built camps, including one at Dachau, appeared mostly in rural, out-of-the-way places. It's been estimated that by 1939 the courts had centred over 200,000 people for political crimes, and in the life of Nazi Germany, something like 3 million people were held, if only briefly for most of them, at one time or another, in prisons or camps, for some kind of political offence. Discipline and conditions in general were extremely harsh. So there you have the Nazi police state. And by the way, SIPO, and I'm giving someone's book here a free publicity, SIPO were the security police. Really another title for the Gestapo. I think I'll put this text on my website, History Made Easier, though you know there will be a lot more detail to be found in my ebook on the Nazis' control of Germany that you can find on Amazon. But for now, I will simply thank you for listening and wish you luck in your studies. Cheers.